third reference to a visitation by God. I suppose when God visits the earth to do what? Pass judgment or something. Or just to clean it out. I'm not sure which. It looks like it's more like a cleaning out, don't you think? I'm not sure. Because they're going to live for 1,000 generations or something like that. They're just going to clean things up here. Get rid of all this lowlife. Okay, now manuscript A and B really separate, and I have them in two separate columns in my book, and that's why I think I did that on purpose in this book. Vermesh just puts it in parentheses. I'll read you manuscript A, and I'll sometimes read manuscript B when it's different. When God visits the earth, when there will come to pass the word which is written in the words of Isaiah, son of Amos the prophets, which say, there shall come upon you and upon your people and upon the house of your father days, the like of which have not come since the day Ephraim departed from Judah. Isaiah 7:17. Manuscript B rather says, when God visits the earth, when there shall come to pass the word which is written by the hand of Zechariah the prophet. That's a different passage and a different text. Long. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd and against the man who is my companion, saith God. Strike the shepherd, this is manuscript B, and scatter the flock, and I will stretch my hand out over the little ones. Zechariah 13:7. Then it goes on to analyze this passage. The keepers of him, from Zechariah, are the meek of the flock. They're the keepers of the covenant, keepers of the law. They shall escape in the era of the visitation, another reference to visitation. I'm in manuscript B now. But the rest shall be given over to the sword. This says given over to the sword. It doesn't say delivered up. You'll see in line 13 of manuscript A, and all those who turn back were delivered up to the sword. It's a different word in here. One says given over, the other says delivered up. So what do I need to know this for? I think it's important to see the two manuscripts and to see what we've got going on here. Same spirit. But the rest shall be given over to the sword and here it is, with the coming of the Messiah of Aaron and Israel. And it is singular. Now Vermesh usually puts it plural. Messiahs of Aaron and Israel. Coming is a singular verb. If it's plural, it's omdim. And the usage is singular. Now that puzzled scholars, so they talked about Messiah of Aaron and Messiah of Israel as if it was dual, but it's Moshe Aaron for Israel. Meaning, according to the first interpreters of this document, way back when it was first found, before the new scholars got a hold of it in the Dead Sea Scrolls, they thought it looked like a Jesus type person. Why? Because it had two bloodlines in him, priestly and royal or lay. Now if you look at the letter to the Hebrews, Jesus is called a high priest by the order of Melchizedek, pure and unpolluted high priest above, etc., etc., etc. And then he's also supposed to be a king descended from David. So he's both high priest and king according to Christianity. That's how Christianity's always seen him. Well, that's just another way of saying what this is saying. The Messiah of Aaron and Israel. The priest and Israel Messiah as one person. And it's not anointed one, I can assure you. It says Messiah. And, you know, anyone who says anointed one here just is a believer in Christ and doesn't want to admit there's any other Messiah walking around the earth. It's fine, you can believe in Christ, but you can't, you can't change the language here because you don't like the word Messiah. You put anointed one here. It means anointed one perhaps, but it says Messiah. Anyway, and it's going to be used several times. With the coming of the Messiah of Aaron and Israel, as it was in the era of the first visitation. This is very confusing. I try to go into it in great detail in my New Testament Code book. Concerning which, that's why I said this is the most important material in the documents. Concerning which God said by the hand of Ezekiel, put a mark on the foreheads of those who cry and weep, Ezekiel 9:4. And then it continues over into column 8, while the backsliders were given up or delivered up to the sword. Now there, manuscript B starts to agree with manuscript A again. That is, while the backsliders were given up to the sword. Now let's go back to manuscript A, column 7. What I just read you, you'll find, confusing as it is, in column 19. I don't have the book in front of you, it's going to really be confusing. Okay. Okay, this is an awful time. Not since the day Ephraim departed from Judah have we seen days like this, when east, north, and south split. Ephraim is the word in Isaiah for the northern kingdom. Judah is the name of the southern kingdom. When the two houses, there it is, of Israel separated. Hey, even go on and say it. Ephraim departed from Judah. See, they use Ephraim for Israel in the north. Because Jacob's son Joseph had two sons at the end of Genesis. Who were they? Ephraim and Manasseh. And then Jacob gave the blessings to Joseph's sons. And Joseph protested, if you remember, I think it's Genesis 49. And he blesses Ephraim first, and Manasseh is the older. And Joseph protested, Father, you've got it wrong. You know, and Manasseh is the oldest, he should get the better blessing. And then Jacob says, I have blessed whom I shall bless. And the thing is that Ephraim gets the biggest conquest. That's the area that we now call Judah and Samaria, because Ephraim is where Joshua was settled. Joshua is a descendant of Ephraim, if you know your genealogies. And Joshua is the hero of the northern kingdom. And that's Shechem. I can show it to you. I don't have time to do all this, but just quickly show it to you. Oh, my pen is gone again. If I can get it for you. So here's Jerusalem. This is the northern kingdom. This is Ephraim. That's where all the trouble today between the Israel and Palestinians are. This is Judah. And this is Joshua's area. And this is Judah's area. And Ephraim is Joshua's tribe. And at the end of the book of Joshua it says, and Joshua got an estate in the highlands of Ephraim. And that's Shechem, Samaria, all the famous names, Bethel, all the famous names that we know from the Bible. All those are in Ephraim. Joseph got two portions.